What is up, movie people? Welcome to the first ever episode of Beyond the Sound podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Miro.
Hi, my name is Viktor.
Hi, and I'm Patrik. We all work in movie industry. We are specialized in the sound department.
This podcast is not only for the sound community around the world, but for all the people that are love with movies and cinema. Movies are not only about watching, but also about listening. So let's have a deep dive into the world of sound.
Let's go for it.
Yeah.
So, guys, how often does your grandmother asks you?
I know what you are going to say, but yeah, go for it.
Okay, nice start.
No, it's the first time you ever heard this question.
Okay.
So how often does your grandmother asks you about the music in the movie you just made? Because, sound is music and that's it.
I often get that when I tell somebody that I work as a sound person and I'm responsible for sound, they're thinking that I'm some kind of DJ. So I often say that I do sound for movies, not only sound, because you need to get it a little bit into the context, not to be considered to be a musician or DJ. So, yeah. And often the question, that people love the movie that I did, and usually they say they love the music that I did. So I'm taking credits for the music, definitely.
Yeah. And I have one non-sound related experience.
Okay.
Everyone in my surroundings ask me, what have you been filming lately?
Okay.
And for me, it's like, do you ask some constructors, what have you been constructing today or something like that? Yeah,
Do not respond with the mayonnaise commercial.
yeah.
That you shouldn't like
I will
commercial
shoot
for mayonnaise.
That's it. That's my go for answer.
Yeah, I remember one situation when we were together on a movie. You were the boom op, and I was the production sound mixer. And one guy came to the shooting and asked about this, and you had the straight face, the poker face, and you said we are recording sound for a mayonnaise commercial here.
Yeah. There are some magical moments like
Yeah, definitely it happens.
Once I was recording Ambience in Bratislava, one very scared person came to me and asked, "What are you doing?" So it's like it's not a bomb or something. It's just a sound recorder, and the whole ambience was just lost because he was talking and asking and asking. So this is for you, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. When you are traveling with sound recorders, do not take the ones that look like paralysers. So took something that looks quite normal.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because when you are recording, you don't want to say anything, and you have no way to stop the people around you to ask you unless you start talking. So yeah.
I mean, the whole recording was distracted. It was
Yeah.
like nothing. Okay, never mind.
This podcast is about sound. Should be about sound.
Definitely.
For a movie. So sound is everything, obviously, that you hear in film. What is the process behind creating the sound in cinema, in movie, and how many people, for example, are involved, and what is the whole process? Can we dive deep into this?
Yeah, it's a really great question, because I was a guest in a podcast about movies. It was not only about sound, but generally about movies. And they give me this question, how the sound process in the movie starts. And when I was thinking about this, I think that it starts with the screenplay. The scriptwriter will just write some piece, and he's the general idea about the sound starts at the script. For example, if you take a movie like Sound of Metal that won also Oscar for best sound editing, you have a great idea at the beginning. You have a drummer that is losing his hearing, so you know that there will be huge focus on sound, I think.
Yeah.
So this is a great example because there are kind of two different movies. One is very great movie that like sets you up for the great sound ambiences, sound designs, and everything. And there are movies you don't want to like
Distract the audience with sound.
yeah, of course. For example, in Sound of Metal, Whiplash, and these musical movies, they are based on very importance of sound as it is.
Yeah.
But when you, for example, watch, I don't know, TV shows you like, those are based on just dialogues, like sitcoms. They are also part of movie industry, kind of, or TV industry. So you want to make sound not that hearable.
Yeah, it's that it's too much appearing and too much taking like a focus on and attention on sound. Yeah, definitely. And I think it will be great to give some examples about such a movies. For me, if I am thinking about movie where the sound design is so obvious and I really like it, it's, for example, for me, Sherlock Holmes. If you, for example, take the scene in the forest, it's based on sound design and music, and the sound design is so obvious and so great that it puts the movie in a different dimension. But on the other side, I was on Dune, the first part in a cinema, and when the part came to the desert, and you are just hearing the desert, and I was so into the movie and into the environment that the sound was not like something obvious. It was just working for the environment, and I was thinking that I am with them on the desert because it was so minimalistic and so well chosen, completely worked with the visuals.
So sound with a picture was what created the immersion into the film.
Definitely.
Yeah,
like I just forget that I'm in a cinema and I was just in the movie.
So that's the perfect sound design when this happens. You forget totally about.
I think many people are considering great sound when you are not focusing on the sound. You just take sound as granted that it just works for the movie, and you are not like focusing on the sound. It just works with the visuals and with the story.
And there's a thing I believe that many people who are not involved in film industry, they don't understand that sound, it's not like what you record on set, because usually what you record on set is just the dialogue, nothing else. So basically all of the sound design is created in post-production, and on set we record only the dialogues and some sound effects, but mainly dialogues. So yeah, it is the post-production that creates this immersive experience for the audience.
If I can say, I think the post-production is where the illusion starts, because you are creating a new world. It's sometimes not completely realistic, but you are starting the game with the audience, and you are creating something a little bit artificial, but it needs to tell the story that the director wants to tell the audience.
Yeah.
Animated movies are the great example, because in animated movies you get like nothing, just the screen and then nothing, and of course you record some dialogues in the studio, but you have to create the whole world behind the movie, so in the sound kind of way. This is like our job, not only in the cartoons and animated TV shows, but you also create the whole structure of the world and the importance of different sound categories, sound elements in the post-production. So I would say creating this world is the main role of sound designer and maybe everybody in sound department in post-production, to create the world.
Yeah, I think it will be great to tell our audience that if we are starting with location sound and we are focusing on the dialogues, for example, Miro, when you are on set, what you are trying to capture and what you are trying to like get rid of, like what sound you don't want to record on location.
Yeah, so basically when we arrive to set, our goal is to record the dialogue, because in sound we can talk about four different elements, like there is dialogue, there is music, there are sound effects and ambiences. And on set we want to get rid of the rest. There is no music, but of the sound effects. Sound effects are like footsteps or door openings and everything like this. So we want to eliminate them as much as possible.
Sound effects, like they are like everything that moves, that creates sound. So
Okay, yeah. So we are trying to eliminate them to get the cleanest possible dialogue, because that's the performance of the actors. We want to capture the performance of the actors. So that's what we do on set, on location when we are filming, and then in post production, the rest needs needs to be
magic
added.
happens in the post-production. Yeah, often the dialogue is the king, because if you, for example, have an actor that is really like paid star, you need to get the performance from him, because there are no other options to record the dialogue with him. Is there some option how to replace the dialogue in the post-production?
Yeah, there is one, but
Yeah.
it's not cheap because you need to hire the actor once more for another day to come to the studio and to re-record their lines. It's called ADR.
Yeah,
but the thing
for additional dialogue recording or additional dialogue replacement.
And the thing with ADR is that many actors doesn't like that.
Yeah, it
because
does not sound natural. Yeah,
it's also about their performance. They are not feeling the same way as they felt on set, and during that scene, it's like they need to relive the situation once more, but the mood will not be the same as it was. So,
for example, if I will be in a costume on a set, in the mood with other actors, it will be completely different than when I'm in some small studio looking on myself on the picture and trying to match the performance that I make maybe sometimes even a year ago or 2 years ago, because sometimes the post-production can take time. The movie needs to be edited, needs to do the visual effects, needs to do the sound design. So sometimes it takes time and you need to travel back in time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe this actor is already on another project, like acting in totally different way. Like the character for them is already different, and they need to switch back. And I think it's really a pain in the.
So there's another way how to preserve a whole acting performance. And it's called wild track. So
wild track. I often use wild tracks.
The thing is, always when I say this word wild track, the assistant of the director is like watching him. What did you say? Are you serious? Wild track.
It's always like it's a wild recording, and we do it right after the scene when, for example, we need one more sentence from the actor.
It's like without camera, not using camera, recording just sound.
Yeah, sometimes we do it with the camera, but often without the camera, just for the sound, that we need these 2 words or we need this one sentence from the actor that could be replaced. For example, we don't see the actor on the screen, or we don't know how the final result will be looking. So we just need to capture the audio. And with wild track, we have the opportunity right after the take that we will tell the AD, assistant director, please give us few minutes for recording the wild track. And the actor will tell us his line, for example, 3 times. And if the things will work out in the post-production, maybe the sentence could be replaced with the wild track. It's called wild because we don't know how the result will be.
Yeah, I just wanted to explain what is assistant director.
Yeah.
It's just this person is like one of the most important roles in the film crew, and it's like manager of every other department. So this guy is responsible for running the filming smoothly.
Yeah, whole shooting day is in his hands, and they need to have the answer for every question.
Yeah, that's it. They need to know about every department what they are doing,
and also a little bit about the future, where the shooting will be going.
Yeah, that's it.
So what's the most difficult thing of wild track?
I think sometimes it's really difficult to just tell the actor that we need it, because I had a situation with one actress that told me that we are not recording sound, we are recording a movie, and it's not possible to just record the sound. And I just told her that please just do it for me, the whole scene without camera. And I was working with the director before. I know his style of editing and shooting. The scene ended up like with maybe 50, 60 cuts. And the performance of the actress was jumping. Like every cut, the performance was a little bit different. And we only saw her for maybe 5-6 seconds in a tight shot that was very close to her. Every other edit, she was not like obviously in there. So I used the whole wild track in post-production, and it completely smoothed out the performance of the actress. She won a prize also for Best Actress for this movie.
Do you think she realized that you used the wild track instead of the
no
the real audio?
No. I think, and we helped her performance.
Yeah.
Great way. Sometimes for me it's the most difficult to find the time for the wild track and find the mood for the wild track from the actors, because sometimes they could be tired. We could do a rainy scene where there is a lot of noise around because it's not a normal rain, it's artificial rain, and it produces sometimes really noise. And sometimes it's difficult also for the actor if you are shooting the whole day and you are maybe overtime to spend like 5 more minutes doing something that could be also replaced in post-production.
Yeah.
So
actors are also humans like all of us, so they have their like, they can feel cold, they can feel tired, and everything like that. And even though you approach them with the best intention, sometimes it's just too much for them.
And how many actors and all the staff? How many people were on the there? So where
it's like
I'm
if
heading.
there is like crew of 100 people waiting just for 5 minutes to be completely silent. Sometimes it's better to say that we will record it with camera and do one more take with camera, because there will be like more respect and more discipline from the whole crew, because we are actually shooting. We are not recording only sound.
There's a thing always when you want to record wild track, everyone else thinks that they are wrapped and they can go to catering and
I think wild track is the same as Roomtone, and Roomtone is a quite legendary thing.
For those of you who don't know, Roomtone is the thing that every environment, every room has some kind of sound on its own, and we sound guys, we sometimes need to record that sound where nothing is like obviously creating sound, but there is some sound level and we need to record that. But every other crew member in the film crew
at the time
doesn't understand that.
Start to eating something very quietly, or you need to unwrap some candy, or you need to just tell somebody something with whispering voice.
Very important things.
Recording. Or if there is some production assistant, they're shouting, "Be quiet! We are recording Roomtone." It's always
Roomtone is great.
Roomtone is bringing some magical moments to the shooting every
Absolutely.
time.
So being in sound department feels a lot like fighting 100 people and telling them to shut up.
I think this is very nice thing to discuss, because, for example, imagine a shooting day. How many people are looking on the screen and how many people are wearing headphones? How many people?
Maybe 10% of
maybe
crew.
10% of the crew is listening. And maybe 90% is just watching on the.
But
so it's like 90% of people are focused on the screen. And like just 10% of people are focused on sound, and the other ones just don't care, kind of.
But you said a word fighting, but I don't think it's fighting. It's just explaining or being kind with other departments. For me, always that's the best way to achieve what you need to achieve the Roomtone, for example, or the wild track.
But when I will be back to the topic that 10% and 90%, sometimes it's enough if you have 10%. If you will find in the 10% the director, you are winning. If the director cares about the sound, I think it's like 90% are listening, even if they do not have headphones, because if the director is focused on sound and needs the sound to be captured on location, you are winning all the time. So I think if the director is not focused on sound, then the responsibility is on my shoulders as the production sound mixer to capture and to protect the performance and to protect the sound that we are recording.
And sometimes there is this magical moment when we want wild track and the director will come to set just next to the actor and he's listening, and that's when you know the director cares about the sound and about the performance, and
then when he's directing even the wild tracks,
that's
or
it.
even the situation where we, for example, are just capturing the audio, not the visual stuff.
And sometimes also during the ambiences.
Also, there are directors that care about the room tone or the environment. I also had a situation where the director came and asked me if I need the room tone, because we were in some specific environment. But with the tools that we have now, all the AI tools, there are some possibilities how we can create it. But sometimes it's, I think, impossible to create the room tone artificially, and you just want to record it.
And then many people doesn't understand that, because they all know that there are these AI assistants and everything like that, and you can create it, but no, you just cannot.
Did you had a situation like that somebody came to you that you can just have one magical button that
Of course.
Yes, of course.
you will just create something or get rid of something?
But I think they need to understand that there's like huge difference between like movie sound and like internet commercial sound, because you watch internet commercial on your laptop, on your I don't know,
tablet.
tablet, and the sound level of the sound volume of the whole piece, it's compressed a lot, and also it's not as loud as in the
doesn't
in
have the
cinema.
dynamic range, and you are mainly focused for the dialogues. But when you are in the cinema, you will hear
everything.
If a nail will fall on the ground in your neighborhood garage. So
So basically, we covered the on-set recording, so the recording of the dialogues, and I think we should switch to the post-production now. So what happens there?
Post-production is where the magic starts, Patrik.
Yeah, it's where the magic starts. Well, from location you get like mostly the dialogues, as we have over and over talked about.
Dialogue is the king, always.
Yeah, it's like the whole information is hidden in the dialogues, and the whole story is hidden in the dialogues.
Usually, like 90% of the movies, the dialogue is carrying all the information about the names, about the plot, about the characters, and they're developing through the dialogues.
Yes.
Of course, there are many other factors, but usually we are telling them through the dialogues.
Yeah. So in the post-production, we compose music, and that's it.
Okay.
As your grandma.
You can be proud. That's where the music starts. And nice.
No. In post-production, we cover everything beyond dialogues,
beyond the sound.
Beyond the sound. And we like process dialogues. I think they are two basic things. You process the sound from the location, and then you add more sounds. You feel like they should be part of the movie world. You are
just like composing a soundtrack from individual sounds.
Of course.
So it's like adding layers and layers and layers. Yeah.
And also you have to mix them. It's like you add layers, and then you like add value on every basic sound element.
You are deciding what is important now and
what is important, and also what is natural. So sometimes you need to feel the energy of the whole sound scene, and the dialogue is not as important. So you can like press the dialogue down a little bit.
Who does that?
We know a director who's famous for this.
Yeah. So let's name them.
I don't want to tell any names.
I know
we want to work with him sometime. So
I think everyone who went to cinema during last years,
will know that he was like, what they are saying through the music.
It's like muffled, and I don't know what they are singing.
But I think it's also a way how to express through sound.
Of course, if you want to like create some stress in the audience, you can do it like this, because if you don't understand what someone is telling you, it's really not really pleasant experience.
Because we as a humans were so used to sound. If there was some kind of danger, we just hear it with our ears. And also we were communicating through the ears with the dialogue, so we are used to that. The dialogue is telling us the information, and suddenly there is music overpowering the dialogue. So we are feeling like discomfort.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like anthropology.
Yeah.
Because if you're asleep, your eyes are closed, but you are
You
always.
never close your ears.
Yeah, you can't
But
close your
For
ears.
example, if we are in post-production and you will take a horror as a genre,
Yeah.
you can't close your ears
Yeah.
the way you can close your eyes in the cinema.
For example, Haneke is
Okay.
working a lot with sound. So you watch, for example, it's terrible. You watch a family member and his reactions, and you hear someone being tortured, and they are like connected with this family bond, and you feel terrible. It's one of the most terrifying things I have ever seen in the movie. It's called Funny Games in USA, I think. And you are watching this mother and her husband. I think it was her husband or son. I don't know. But never mind. He was being tortured, and it was horrible. So horrors are part of
Great, yeah. For sound, definitely. And I had a discussion like this that, for example, imagine that you want to make a movie from World War II and you don't have money for it to make a huge scene, fighting scene. You will just take a tight shot, a close-up on the actor, and you will do the whole sound design. It's not so like you need to have tanks and you need to have planes. You need to have thousands of extra actors. You can just do it with sound.
But we should explain this.
Yeah, let's
because,
explain this.
Because if you're shooting the movie, you're probably gonna need either visual effects or the real
or
real
a
effects.
close-up and gray sound.
Yeah.
But let's wrap up the post-production, like what we do in the post-production in the whole process.
Yeah. So basically, there are many different steps.
Yeah.
But the first one, I would say, is like the dialogue editing. It's like when a sculptor wants to make a statue or sculpture, he just have this piece of stone, of rock,
Yeah.
and he needs to sculpt into it. And that's what we do when we are editing dialogue. We need to
Get rid of unwanted
need
parts of the sound.
yeah, that's it.
Because on location you like record everything also with the dialogues, so you can hear the camera slightly, for example. You can hear I don't know, police car that is hurrying up somewhere. You can hear all those things, but director sometimes choose just this take because the performance you are protecting is the best. So in the post-production you need to get rid of all those sounds that would like distract the whole experience of the movie. Let's say, for example, you have this Blade Runner or anything, Lord of the Rings. You have Lord of the Rings. you can't hear police car.
Definitely.
That will be quite weird.
So this is the editing process. You can't stop the world. You just can recreate the new world, new movie world, and this is the basics.
Yeah, and sometimes the ambiences in the real world are not the same as in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, and for example, with ambiences, it's something that's really underneath the sound. It's like the third or fourth layer of the sound, but it's very important because ambience is putting you in the place. It's putting you in the time. For example, you have a different ambience in night. You hear crickets. During the day, you hear some birds. And for example, with ambiences, you can go in also some artistic way. For example, if you have a scene where you put a cold wind, you will feel differently about the scene when you will hear, for example, birds chirping there.
Is that your experience?
Yeah, we had such a scene in a post-production where the guy has weight on his ankles, and he should be thrown in the water and he will die. And we had a music that was covering this whole scene. And the director told that, let's get rid of the music. And what should replace the music? And so we replaced it with a just cold wind that was howling a little bit. You just feel the emptiness, the last moments of the guy. So it was giving you like chills. Yeah.
How would you say would this scene work with the natural ambience background?
Yeah,
So,
with the
like,
natural ambience, you will hear a bird chirping, and it will be the opposite of the feeling of the guy.
So
and
like contrapunct.
yeah, you can go in the contrast with the real environment, but you will change the mood of the story. And the story was about the guy that's having the weights on his legs and should be thrown in the water. And will he be saved? Won't he be saved? We will see. But the moment needs to be very powerful.
It would be comprehended like nothing happens.
Yeah.
The world is spinning, birds are chirping, and
actually, there were like
guys falling.
3 guys, stuntsmen. Some of them were thrown in the water, and the last, our hero was waiting for his destiny. So we need to feel the emptiness of the moment.
So the ambience totally changed the narrative of the whole scene.
Yeah. It was before it was on music, and suddenly it was on sound, and just one ambience, one wind just covered the whole scene.
Okay.
And it is more like silence before the storm, because with music it's like something is happening, but if you turn the music down, and you can hear just
it's
all
like
those
yin yang.
ambiances.
Sound needs silence, and loudness needs silence, and silence needs loudness.
Yeah.
So the contrast is what works the best, I think, for the viewer.
And this is the very good example. You have put sooner about Sherlock Holmes, the forest scene.
Yeah.
You can hear very, very silent moments. Then, I don't know, it was this ballistic rocket.
Before.
It blasts, and then again,
and then
just
you can
very,
just
very
hear
silent.
a breath of the actor when he tried to shoot the rifle. You can hear his breath before the actual shooting from the rifle. So
that's the thing. How often do you hear someone breathing this loud? It's like that's the magic of the sound in movie, that you can play with this.
Focus on these little things and overdo the little things.
Yeah.
So other than dialogues, other than ambiences and all these basic elements, there's very, very important part of the whole sound post-production, and it's called mixing. So what's mixing?
Yeah, mixing. One of the final processes of sound post-production, where you usually work heavily with the director and with the producers, and you meet them in a dubbing stage. It's like a big theater where you have a large sound mixing console, and you are just watching the movie as it will be watched in the cinemas on a huge screen, and you are making the crucial decisions about the balance between music, dialogues, and all the elements, as you told, like the sound effects and ambiences. And it's usually just the dialogue and finding the right thing, getting rid of the things, or maybe making some adjustments.
Doing preferences between these elements.
Yeah. Sometimes you can go the whole scene with just maybe ambience and cut out the dialogues. Maybe sometimes you will put the music more loudly, so people will, or the audience will feel the power from the music. So it's like the crucial decisions that are made, and they will completely change. Sometimes even at the last process of mixing, the movie will just completely change.
Yeah, there is this one great example from Dune, the movie, where they invented the character, the most crucial
voice,
character. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I just heard this in the all great podcasts and all the great videos from the sound team from Dune, that they created the voice at the final days of the mixing process. They were not happy with the voice. It should be in sync, if it should not be in the sync, and how it should sound, and they put it together the final days in the mixing process. So sometimes it's also creative. And Mark Mangini, we had a great workshop with him about Dolby Atmos, and he mentioned that
Dolby Atmos.
Yeah, Dolby Atmos, yeah. And he mentioned one thing, that in the mixing process, in the final days, when the things clicks together and the sound works with the visuals, and you create something very special and you feel it, that the people that are sitting in the room are like they fell in love for like in some special way.
It's like not picture and sound anymore separate. It's like in unison.
Yeah, and you have the thing and it's working, and you are proud what you created. And when we are looking on this team of Dune, they got the Oscar for best sound, and I think it was well deserved, because the movie was like over the top and with the quality.
So to wrap the mix, do you have some comparison to something that everyone can relate to?
Yeah, let's just take pens and write notes. It will be a recipe for you. Okay. Let's name this recipe somehow.
Okay.
For example, Sherlock Holmes. It's a nice idea. Let's call it like we are creating Hedgehog Goulash. So
Hedgehog Goulash.
Hedgehog Goulash, definitely.
Okay.
Madam, this is a glorious Hedgehog Goulash.
If you are mixing a movie, is like you are you are making a Hedgehog Goulash. For example, onions are dialogues.
Okay. Salt is like sound effects.
That's what you always cried on.
Yeah, you cry over the dialogues.
Oh yeah. What a great. Yeah.
Because it takes time to bring the dialogue and to be sounding great. So the tears are the dialogues. What could be the salt? Salt is the flavor. So the flavor maybe.
Yeah, maybe the music or.
Yeah, the music or yeah.
Then there is the pepper. That's maybe ambiences.
Ambiences, yeah.
Okay,
and
potatoes.
Potatoes. Yeah, okay. What's the hedgehog?
Let me think. Yeah, I know. That's the secret ingredient.
Yeah, so you will never know what the hedgehog is. Or know how what's the hedgehog.
yeah. Won't tell you. Ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been it for this first ever episode of Beyond the Sound podcast. We appreciate you tuning in, for subscribing or sharing. Yeah, we will be back soon with another episode. Cheers.
Beyond the hedgehog.
Beyond the hedgehog. Nice. Great.
Nice.
Let's stop this Nagra Kudelski recorder. It's recording all the time.
Stop the Nagra because we won't have any other film reel.